Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Sekiana remembered as loyal friend committed murder at funeral. Dressed in white in a casket adorned with her photographs, social media personality Anika Sekiana 1000 looked the part of a precious gem, a description used on her funeral program. 1000 was laid to rest 5 days before what would have been her 36th birthday. Sekiana's body was fished from the sea in Reading, St. James, on October 21, 2022. Held at the Webster Memorial United Church in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, 1000's funeral saw family members openly weeping over her casket. During the eulogy, read by her aunt Arlene Gregory, 1000 was remembered as a loyal friend whose generosity knew no bounds. Unfortunately, someone she trusted took her away from us, Gregory said, holding back tears. She detailed how 1000 had last spoken to her mother just hours before her trip to St. James. "Our dear Dumpling is no longer with us," her aunt said, using one of the many names 1000 had. 1000 was also hailed as a committed mother to her son. On November 11, Rashawn Patterson was charged with the murder of 1000. Allegations are that on Thursday, November 20, 1000 traveled from Kingston to Montego Bay, where she was picked up by Patterson. At some point during the night, an argument developed between them, which resulted in Patterson strangling 1000 and disposing of her body. A 47-year-old security guard, Ron Rose, otherwise called Early B, has been charged with misprision of a felony in the matter. Man police labeled dangerous contract killer skips bail. A man from western Jamaica, who the police allege is one of the island's most deadly contract killers, has skipped bail and is now on the run, sparking fears in police circles that he could be about to unleash another reign of terror in that section of the island. The 28-year-old is facing charges of murder, 4 counts of illegal possession of firearm, and 4 counts of shooting with intent. He appeared before the St. James Circuit Court on several occasions after he was arrested by the police in 2020, but his application for bail was rejected on each occasion. Earlier this year, his lawyer took the matter to the Home Circuit Court in Kingston, where, following an application in chambers, he was granted bail in the sum of $500,000 with 2 sureties and strict reporting conditions. The alleged contract killer, who told the court that he was unable to walk and required surgery, was ordered to not return to St. James unless it was to attend court, not to leave the Kingston house of the family member who had bailed him unless it was to go to hospital or court, reportedly directly, or have a representative report to the Kingston Central Police Station between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., Mondays to Fridays, not to contact the witnesses, and to surrender his travel documents to the police. But when the case was called up in court earlier this week, the alleged contract killer was not present, and subsequent checks by the police determined that he had fled from the house where the court had ordered him to stay. As police confirmed that the alleged hitman was now on the run, reporters pointed out that he is on a quest to avenge the death of his brother, who was fatally shot in December 2020 in St. James during a conflict between 2 gangs. The sources pointed out that the man has been linked to several murders, which he had allegedly paid to commit on behalf of rival gangs in western Jamaica. "This man is only loyal to his money and his gun. He will take money for anybody to mash a work for him," said the source to reporters. "He is known as somebody who is cool and will kill anywhere and anytime," added the source as he pointed to 6 murders which the alleged contract killer was charged with in 2013. According to material which the police produced in court, in 2013 the accused man traveled to Norwood, St. James, where he opened fire at a group of people, killing 3. Less than 1 hour later, he was in North Gully, St. James, where he opened fire at people again, leaving 3 dead. Acting on information, the police struck and arrested him before charging him with all 6 murders. But after he was remanded for several months, he was freed by the court as witnesses, including those who had identified him as the shooter in the incident, failed to appear for the trial. Since being freed of the murders charged, the police have linked him to several barbaric acts, including the brazen daylight fatal shooting of a man in Adelphi, St. James in November 2019. In December 2019, the police went in search of the suspected killer, who intelligence suggested was on his way to carry out a contract killing on behalf of a gang, but he managed to elude the police, leaving behind a Glock pistol with 29 rounds of ammunition. The hunt continued for him until September 2020, when members of the security forces responded to reports of the fatal shooting of a man in Catherine Hall, St. James. On arrival, the members of the security forces said they were engaged in a firefight by 2 men who had reportedly killed the man. When the shooting ended, the two men were found with gunshot wounds and two illegal firearms taken from them. When one of the men was identified as the island's most wanted contract killer, the police were confident that they now had sufficient evidence to put him away for a very long time. But now that he has skipped bail, they are concerned that he could come and resume a life of killing and extortion, which made him feared in sections of Western Jamaica for years. These judges, who are quick to grant bail to these dangerous violent producers, do not consider what they could be unleashing on the people of Jamaica. We have repeatedly argued that violent criminals are being granted bail too easy, a policeman said, who had tracked the alleged contract killer for years, argued. This is a very dangerous killer who is now on the loose to continue his terrorism because a judge either did not read or act on his antecedents before granting bail. This is so frustrating, he said. Former Petrojam GM had access to company's U.S. account 4 years after leaving oil refinery. 4 years after parting ways with Petrojam, former general manager of the state-owned oil refinery Fred Gridley still had access to the entity bank account valued at over US $18 million. The revelation was made on Wednesday during King's Counsel K.D. Knight's cross-examination of the company's chief financial officer, CFO Delroy Brown, who is a witness in the fraud trial involving Gridley and former chairman Dr. Percival Singh. Gridley and Singh are being tried in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court in relation to the submission of claims amounting to US $73,620 between December 2016 and May 2018. The claims were made by Dr. Singh for overseas travels, which were never undertaken. Gridley is alleged to have aided and abetted the ex-chairman in the process used to make the fraudulent claims. While he grilled the CFO about financial matters at Petrojam, Knight, who is representing Gridley, also sought to highlight his client's character. He pointed out that Gridley, no longer the general manager, was still a signatory on the account, which holds enormous sums of money up to November. Knight said that he could have sought means of swinging the money. Knight quizzed the CFO on whether he knew that on November 8, 2022 at 9:17 a.m., Petrojam had a US dollar investment account of close to US $14 million and a US account valued at over US $5.3 million. Brown was dumbfounded by Knight's revelation. Brown told Knight that without the documentation before him, he could not speak to the figures. Knight probed to ascertain who has access to the accounts within or outside the Petrojam. Is Mr. Gridley still able to financially access the Petrojam account? Would he be able to know that Petrojam's account of over $18 million? You don't care that Mr. Gridley has access and open the account, meaning can go into the computer and say how much is still in the account? He could say, my name is on this account, I am a signature to it, and could fraudulently withdraw or pay bills in Petrojam's account. Are you aware that he can open the account and use the account? Who should be blamed for that? If that can happen, he said. Brown responded by saying that he is not the administrator of the account and that he had no clue if Gridley indeed could still access it. Wouldn't open the door to fraudulent activity, he said in response to Knight's question about Gridley's access to the account years later. Deflecting blame for himself as head of the finance department, Brown explained that it would be the finance treasurer's responsibility to take steps to prevent a person who has left the company from still having access to bank accounts. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell